let's go back over the last 3 to 4 years. We've always had some form of speculation, in one shape or form of Blackberry, being taken out. Now, if you look at Mr. Chen's commentary over the last 12 months, what he's saying is that everything is on the table, right?
CEO of Blackberry.
Correct. Yeah, he's publicly said, look, I don't rule anything out. I'm transforming this company. Whatever is best for the shareholders, he'll
Is he transforming the company? Is there value at this? Is there $7.5 billion worth of value at this company anymore? I mean, besides Becky being a customer, there's not a lot left.
Well, you have to look at what BlackBerry does and break it down, right? So when I look at BlackBerry, I look at it like in 3, 4 different parts. They're patents. And, we all agree that they were pioneers in enterprise email security.
People say the value of the patent portfolio somewhere between $1.2, $1.5 billion.
Sure, one, two, three, depends upon who's
counting.
Who's counting? Then you've got the operating system. They've got a new operating system. The world has evolved into an iOS and Android.
Right. So do we write that off and just say that's worthless, or do you?
Or do you say that Samsung wants to create some differentiation? They don't want to depend on Android. And you talked about Xiaomi. You want differentiation. So these are tens of thousands of man hours. Do you write it off? Call it $500 million, billion? I don't know what it is, right? And the third component is infrastructure. Every quarter, they spend $100, $200, $300 million in building their infrastructure. How do you look at that? And finally, you've got 40 million subscribers. Does that go to 0? Does that go to 25 million? How do you value that? So when you actually add up all these things, depending upon who is looking at BlackBerry, how desperate they are, I mean, you could come to anywhere between, $7 to $8 billion.
We're talking about this in the context of BlackBerry, what it means to the target. But what does it mean to Samsung? And you just mentioned it earlier. What does it mean to Google? Meaning, if I'm Google and I saw that report, and I realize that Samsung is a major player in the Android market. Without Samsung, I don't even know whether Android would be Android today. What are they thinking?
Well, honestly, Google really doesn't care who's going to win or not, because at the end of the day, you looked at Xiaomi. Xiaomi is going to depend on players like Google. So they are de-risking themselves between who wins and loses. What their bigger issue is, iOS versus Android. That's what they're looking at.